It almost feels like London's calling me, and I'm happy to answer on a positive note. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your boy Varun Chopra, and today's video is going to be really informal. It's really close to my heart. I'll be revealing my dream university in this video as promised. So watch this video till the end, and there's that big reveal for you. So my study abroad journey started when I was in my second year, when I decided to go for my master's, but not in a field that is relevant to computer science, because back in my second semester I realized that hardcore coding or software development was not really my cup of tea. Although I've done my bachelor's in computer science engineering, but I knew it there and then that I had to go for something that gave me more exposure to the managerial aspects of how things work in the corporate world. So that is when I started digging up. Also, a big shout out to my neighbor who got into LSE at that moment and who kindled the spirit inside me to go to London. I was 18 years old. I was unaware of how things work, the visa policies, the work allowance, the university rankings, how to get into these universities, what is the process and everything. But London in itself was very fascinating to me, and which is why in my SOP I had written this line. I'll read it out for you. It almost feels like London's calling me, and I'm happy to answer on a positive note. So it does. It still feels like London is calling me, and I'm glad I finally answered it on a positive note. And in a couple of months I'll be flying to London to my dream university. Now, coming back to my second semester, I realized that I had to go for my master's, but it wasn't really UK that I had in mind. Of course, being from a technical domain, US was my first priority, and so as recommended by everyone, I was supposed to start preparing for my GRE in my third year, and for the other exams that are required. So basically all the preparation had to start in the third year. So waiting for that, at the end of my fourth semester, I remember this pandemic hit the world and my college suddenly switched from offline mode to online mode. So things kind of became a bit easier when it comes to exams and all, but the learning, I would say, was not really as it would have been if it would have been offline, which I'm sure a lot of other students also must have experienced. So it gave me a lot of free time to research, to dig up the courses that I wanted to go for, the courses that I befitted in, and the courses that best suited me. So while looking up courses, I narrowed it down to three options. My first option was MIS, which is Masters in Information Systems. Second was a Masters in Management, and my third option was Masters in Business Analytics. So about these masters, you could look these courses up and you'll know what is the curriculum, what is the structure, because each university has a different structure of the same course. So I'd rather not go deep into it, since this video is not really about your course selection or your university selection. This is my journey. So I spoke to people who had done MIS, I spoke to people who are doing MIM, and I also spoke to people who are doing this really novel course as compared to the previous two, the Masters in Business Analytics. So after speaking to these people, I really liked how things work, because business analytics really was the best concoction of technical as well as managerial aspects that I wanted to go for, because I didn't really want to cut off completely from the technical domain, because going for a master's in management is not really as good as going for an MBA. While doing these things, I still remember, I still have it on my desktop, this King's College London's MBA's brochure, because I was really kind of fascinated by London, like I spoke earlier, and I really wanted to go either to London or to somewhere in US. I was not really aware of how things work, like I spoke earlier. So after this was done, I started preparing for my GRE. I scored a 325 in my GRE. Then I gave my IELTS in October 2021, and I scored an overall band of 8.5. So that was that. IELTS was pretty easy. GRE, took me a while to prepare for GRE because I had my exams in between. So GRE, I would say, is a tricky exam. You have to invest time, you have to invest a lot of diligence, then only you can score high. But if you're ready to put all that in, if you're honest about your efforts, then trust me, you sail through GRE very easily, like I did. So after I was done with this, I started working on my SOPs and LORs. Now about the SOPs and the LORs, I'll also make separate videos about these, how to draft your SOP, how to draft your LORs, who to get your LORs from. So all this I'll cover in a separate video. So about me, I created my first draft of SOP in about 2 hours, and that was that. I just, a few tweaks, fixing a few grammatical errors, and that was my final draft. I might be sounding a bit cocky at the moment, but no, I really did that in one go. People told me that, it takes 2 weeks, it takes a month perhaps writing your SOP. For me, trust me, it was just a 2-hour process, and after that, just a few tweaks. And there were times when universities like University of Manchester had their own, structure required for SOP, so I have to restructure it a bit. But the main draft, the draft that I used in most of the applications, was prepared in just 2 hours, and that's sufficient, I believe. If you sit with full concentration, decide what you have to write, make notes of what your experiences have been, 2 hours are more than sufficient. Now, coming to which countries I applied to. I was planning to apply to US at first, but the problem there was that my course, generally, Masters in Business Analytics, was a 1-year course, and I would have lost on the CPT, that is the internship period. And all those of you who are preparing for US must be aware that it's generally your CPT or your internship that gets converted to your full-time offer. So I didn't want to lose on to that, because again, the policies would have only allowed me a 90-day period before my OPT got nullified if I hadn't got a job. So that was a bit of a gamble there. So I kind of put US as a backup later on, and spoke to people who've gone to other countries. I explored Australia, I explored Canada, I explored UK, and finally I only applied to UK. I applied to 7 or 8 universities as far as I remember. I'll be making a separate video for admits and rejects super soon, and so out of those I got into most of them, but I got a reject from a couple of them, and that was that. So finally, coming to what this video is going to be. In my previous video, I narrowed it down to 2 universities. One university being Imperial College London, and the second university being University College London. And I'm going to UCL, that is University College London, for my Masters in Business Analytics starting this fall, that is fall 2022. I've booked my tickets, I've booked my accommodation, I'm really excited. I'm a bit nervous, it's mixed feelings, but I think it's all gonna go well. I'm not preparing as such for anything, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I think that's the best way to go for it, because if I plan too much, I might screw up things thinking that they're not going as planned. So I'm really excited. It's just a couple of months away that I'll be flying. It'll be my first time staying this far from home, coming back in a year or so. So super excited, super nervous, mixed feelings. And about UCL and my course, UCL is ranked 8th in the world according to the QS 2023 rankings. My course has an acceptance rate close to 10%. So if 1,000 applications would have gone in for the masters, only 100 students would have gotten in, and luckily I was one of them. I think data science, analytics, business analytics was the perfect blend for me. That is why I went for that. And UCL gave me this perfect option of being in London, of giving me the perfect curriculum, a perfect balance of management and technology, and I couldn't have asked for a better university for my masters and a better course for my masters. So I was fortunate enough to get into it. And here's a tip that I would like to give to everyone who's planning to apply for the fall 23 intake or for the spring 23 intake, and that's that I got into one of my ambitious universities. I understand at times you think that there's no point in applying because I might not have a fair shot there, and cost me say what, £100 or £150 just for the application. So I would say spend that £150, because you never know, you might have a fair shot, because these things, they are relative to the competition pool. You're not aware of who your competition is. At times the competition might be very tough, and you might not get into the university that you thought was a safe university for you. And on the other hand, you might get into a university that you thought was an ambitious one for you, but because of lesser competition there, or maybe lenient policies due to COVID, you might just get in, you might just get lucky. So don't think that there's no point in applying. Definitely apply to the ambitious universities. If you think you want to go to a university, it has your course, you are eligible to apply, go for it, man. I think there's no harm in trying. Better oops than what if. So I think I wanted to reveal my university. I revealed it, and that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो प्लीज लाइक करें. If you love the video, kindly subscribe to the channel. That's all from my side. This is VC signing off.